Hello again, my little grenadiers, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at the brand new German veteran infantry bolt action starter army. I'm not going to lie, I am very excited to cast my eye over this starter army because it is one of the first ones that have been specifically designed with bolt action 3rd edition in mind. But the big question is it good for 3rd edition? Have Warlord Games done their homework, or are you better with one of the older starter sets? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's fix bayonets and charge right into today's episode. Achtung, conscripts! Warlord Games is now an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. And not only that, they have given me an affiliate link which I have popped down in the description below. By using that link, you can get your hands on some awesome World War II bolt action miniatures and at the same time support the Mordian Glory channel.
Bring it to me, Fagerite! 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 Fagerite!
You have all of ideas, so what are you waiting for? Do the right thing and buy yourself some bolt action today. So the first thing that I want to do is just add a bit of context. Why is the starter army a big deal? Because there are loads of other starter armies on the Warlord Games website right now. Well, the thing is, a lot of these other starter armies were designed and released as part of 2nd edition. As a result, whilst many of them are still fantastic deals and totally compatible with 3rd edition, some of the unit choices that were put in there were based on how you built army lists in 2nd edition, which has radically changed in comparison to how we put our armies together in 3rd edition. A great example of this is quite a lot of the starter armies will come with one tank or one vehicle. Now in 2nd edition that was totally okay, but in 3rd edition if you want to run an armored platoon you need at least 2 vehicles to do that. Therefore, when it comes to reviewing these new starter armies that Warlord Games is putting out, I am definitely going to be looking at them through the lens of 3rd edition list building. Do they include a nice variety of units? And not only that, can you use all of these units without having to go out and buy yourself an extra tank somewhere else, which is kind of like a hidden cost. And so, with all of that said, let's not delay anymore. I know you guys are thoroughly blue-balled at this point. They're looking like a Luftwaffe Field Division jacket. Let's get into the units in the starter army. First up, we have got 36 multi-pose hard plastic German veteran infantry. This is a brand new kit from Warlord Games, and we are going to be circling back round to them and diving into the sprues later on in this video. But for now, it's important to know that that is plenty of infantry for you to be cracking on with to build up your rifle platoons and maybe some of your other special platoons as well. I love a solid core of infantry in all but action lists. The game is still very much infantryman's game, and having 36 of these guys is going to give you a solid base for your force. On top of this, we have got an additional 4 infantry models: an infantry officer, an NCO, a medic, and a radio operator. Now in 2nd edition, these cool officer and sort of unique sculpts were kind of fun but not necessary. A lot of the time you just ended up using them as extra squad leaders, or just the medic could be an extra rifleman in a squad essentially. But in 3rd edition, they're actually going to be quite useful. You need all the officers you can get your hands on, and so having a couple that come here with these unique sculpts is actually very useful because that gives you an officer for a couple of platoons. And then the radio operator, well, air observers are very good right now, so are artillery observers. And so having the radio operator actually gives you a model that's a great stand-in for some sort of forward air observer. The medic is still a maybe, but there is a theory right now being thrown around that having veteran infantry, which you get in this kit, plus cover saves, plus a medic is actually going to make for some very, very durable infantry. So the medic is no longer just an extra rifleman. They actually have some serious play as doing their job of being a medic. And I think it's really, really important to point out that these 4 special infantry models are made out of Warlord resin, not metal. Now, do not be fooled. Warlord resin is not like your typical resin models, which you need to start scrubbing them and messing around and all this kind of stuff. Oh, no, 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 no. This is one of Warlord Games' best products. I love Warlord resin. I literally think it's one of the best things they do. I think it puts them well ahead of other model companies out there. Imagine getting your plastic models, but they're single piece, they're super easy to work with, and the detail is like that of resin models. It's like crazy magic. It's sorcery. The detail of resin models with the ease to work of plastic models, yeah, it's really good. And it's fantastic to see that Warlord Games is including a lot more of these Warlord resin models in their armies. But speaking of Warlord resin, we've actually got 3 weapon teams which are made out of the stuff as well in this starter army. 2 medium machine gun teams and a medium mortar team. I really like this selection of weapon teams. I think it shows some serious thought has been put into the design and composition of this starter army. Firstly, it encourages new German players to experience their army rules, such as the buzzsaw rule for the machine guns. Secondly, it makes managing the platoons a little bit easier. In a lot of the previous starter armies, you would get a machine gun and a mortar, and then you get like 1 artillery piece. In 3rd edition, that would require you to have not only an officer for your rifle platoon, but then an officer for your heavy weapons platoon, and then an officer for the artillery platoon. Now we don't have the artillery piece, and it just makes to be less office attacks and just more efficiency when it comes to building the list, but also less for new players to manage. They know they're going to have the infantry platoon, they're going to have their weapons platoon, and as you'll see in a moment, they're going to have the tank platoon. And I don't think it'll be overstated how important it is to keep things simple and streamlined where possible in these starter armies, because a lot of people are getting into bolt action for the very first time with 3rd edition. There's been a huge amount of players in my community that have been jumping over to it for one reason or another. And whenever I do a live stream now, I'm always getting comments, I'm always getting questions, being like, oh, Mordian, how does this work? Oh, I've just got my first bolt action models. How should I build them? How should I form my platoons up? Can you take a look at my army list? And I love doing that. I love helping people on the hobby journeys. I love seeing what people are cooking up with the army lists. But if you're getting into the game for the first time, you don't want to have a starter army that you have to unpick. You want a starter army where things very naturally go together. The infantry go in the infantry platoon, the heavy weapons go in the heavy weapons platoon, so on and so forth. It might seem like I'm going on about this a lot, but I think it's a really important point to highlight because it shows that Warlord Games has put thought, care, and attention into these starter armies. And the last part of the army, and the bit that I think a lot of people are going to be most excited for, if I know Wargamers, it is the tanks. We have got a Panzer IV and we have got a 222 armored car. Both of these vehicles are fantastic choices to have in an armoured platoon. The Panzer IV is the workhorse of the German armoured fleet in bolt action. I've actually got a couple of armies right now that I'm cooking up which are built around having a pair, if not 3 of these things. And the 222 is also one of Warlord's latest plastic vehicle kits. It was originally part of the Gentleman's War Starter Army, and I have heard nothing but good things about that model. So if we add all of this up, we are getting 40 infantry plus 3 weapon teams plus 2 vehicles. That's quite a chunky box of models. That feels weighty, that feels hefty. Getting all of that for £104 feels like a decent deal. But I guess the big question is, well, we raised at the beginning of the video, is this starter army good for 3rd edition? Has it been built with 3rd edition army lists in mind? Well, rest easy, dear viewers, because I can tell you for sure that it has. Not only does Warlord Games include in the description of the product some details and some ideas about how you could field the army, breaking it down into 3 to 4 platoons, but it's also just eminently obvious from the models that are included in this platoon. Sometimes you get companies which say, this thing is great, it definitely works, yeah. And then when you get into it, it's not actually true and you have to go and get a whole bunch of extra stuff, right? But with this, I can just see right now that you can get a very viable 3rd edition army from this. The plastic infantry are going to come with loads of extra bits like anti-tank rifles so that you can get some extra anti-tank options in there and some of the other specialist 2-man teams. And then you've got enough officers here to have 2 or 3 platoons, whether they're infantry, engineer or heavy weapons. And then of course the arm platoon is 2 vehicles, which is perfect. However, in the interest of being totally open and to prove to you guys that I am not just completely biased and telling you guys to go off and buy, there is one small downside to the starter army. Whilst the new veteran infantry models are extremely well detailed and some of the best that I think Warlord have made so far, they are focused around the early to mid war. For example, if you look at the sprues, you will see lots of rifles and machine guns. You will see anti-tank rifles as well. But there is a distinct lack of assault rifles. And assault rifles are almost like a soft, unofficial German special rule, because I think they are the only faction that gets access to them normally really easily. I don't want anyone getting the wrong end of the stick though and thinking that these infantry are totally trash and unusable. Not at all. You can use infantry mid, early, late war, no problem whatsoever. You just have to be aware that you are missing out on one particular weapon system. But the kit does have a few other things to offer. For example, it does come with a plastic flamethrower. Now, if you're new to bot action, you may not appreciate how much of a big deal that is. Normally your flamethrowers come in these separate little teams and you only end up with sort of having a handful of them unless you want to go out and buy lots of these sort of 2-man metal or warlord resin teams. Getting access to one flamethrower per 6-man sprue means that you could really spam them if you wanted to, and that opens up lots of pioneer squads and just generally adds a lot of firepower to these infantry models. So they are good. You just have to be aware they are missing those assault rifles and plan accordingly when you are getting this starter army. Overall, I really like the starter army and I could definitely recommend it to someone getting into bot action for the first time. It comes with a really nice variety of models that are going to let you feel the different game mechanics and also feel your German army with those extra machine guns letting you dip into those special rules like Buzzsaw. Not only that, but all of the units included are bread and butter units. You can never go wrong with having a Panzer IV, for example. And you will find that these models are not only going to find their home in your starter army, but you'll still be dipping into them and using them well into the future as you grow and evolve your collection. If you're the kind of player that wants to have a self-contained force that is always going to be able to do something on the tabletop and be viable, then this is the army for you. If you want to use this as a foundation to start your ever-expanding German collection, then this is also a great option as well. The only fly in the ointment is the lack of assault rifles. But the fact that you get plastic flamethrowers and so many of them in this set, I genuinely, hand on heart, honestly thinks balance it out and more than makes up for it. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you looking to pick up this starter set, or has another one caught your eye? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously, guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.